Aye.
He's going to end up at Chelsea, isn't he?
Aye.
Oh, God.
He's got to want a Champions League club. And
That's
hands
just
on
gonna-
Hodder what his hands on Ronnie.
I'll just go tits up as well.
I think he'll go to Sport in Lisbon and just try and break loads of goal records.
Do you reckon he'll just retire?
I think
Nah,
he's
he's
shite
definitely
that
got Chelsea.
Messi's only like 11 goals behind him for the Champions League record.
They've removed his mural outside Old Trafford.
I've seen
So
That's curtains then, isn't it?
To be fair, they were taking down the whole thing, and he just happened to be one of the folk on it. It was a bit of a non-story.
Oh, is that it?
Aye,
Yeah,
I
it
think like
feels
some sort of one league thing on this weekend, so they've took it down. But it was like a mural. Like,
Fuck's sake.
They were
it was
changing
like
it.
all the number 7, so it was like him, Beckham,
Dennis
Wayne
Law, I think.
Robson, Cantona, and the lassie number 7,
Michael Owen.
and Michael Owen. Tony Valencia was on there too.
Don't get me started, Tony Valencia, with that fucking shirt number change. It stitched me up with buying football shirts because I bought his shirt with number 25 in the back yet, and then honestly 2 weeks later he changed it to 7, and this is how long ago was it? It was JJB that I bought it from. And
Why would you get a Man United shirt with Antonio Valencia on the back, considering they would have had Tevez, Rooney, and all of that at the same time?
Could
It
you
was-
not just done a Zamorano and just put a plus in the middle of it?
so when I bought it, the thing with the JGB offer was you couldn't not get a name in the back of it. Like, it was a free edition. So I was like, okay, he just had like a storming year. I was like, I'll put him in the back of it. I don't really care. And then it was wrong. And then I contacted them to change it, and they wouldn't change it.
So they physically wouldn't let you leave the shop without getting a name
It
and
was
number on
online.
the back of the shirt that you were buying.
It was
It's
online.
probably just free. I think
Aye.
that's what Kyle means.
Because
It
Kyle's,
was just free. I think it was like you couldn't get one with a name in the back. You just mean it was free of charge, probably.
so this would have been what year? 2012, something
I
like
don't
that.
know. A long time ago. Back when I thought it was cool to wear football tops as an
Aye,
adult.
that's
it's
just what I
truly
was going
no.
to say. It's a lot cooler to wear pink, yellow, and blue hoodies.
That, 2 different types of blue, colours of blue, sorry, and a grey hat to match with it as well.
Have I ever told you the story about Brian Louds up in the back of my top? In fact, I think I said this in a group
I
chat.
think you have that. I think maybe in the car for work one day or something. The rings a bell.
So I was in primary. This was 1998. So I was in primary 7 going into first year. And you couldn't just go online and find out the squad numbers and that. So Brian Louds had just gone for Rangers to Chelsea. So I thought I'll get Brian Louds in the back of my Chelsea top. So you had to phone up the club and all that to get the numbers at the time. Got it all done. And they played about 7 games or something, and there was no transfer window then. He got sold like within a month. And by the time I went to school, he was already gone, and I could never wear the top. Shite. Never had a name in the back of the top since.
I got my first name and number on the back. It was for the in shops, so it was like felt.
Yeah.
So it was like the Celtic '98 top that they won the league under Wim Jansen. So it was like sponsored by Umbro, plus the kit manufacturer was Umbro as well. So it was like Umbro and Umbro. And I got Larson 7 on the back. So obviously it's a green and white top. The felt was white, and they put it on the white bit of the hoop. So like it just looked like a number 7 until you went really
Was
close.
that the
So
one
it
like the
was
player ones
like-
had a big square in the back so you could actually make it the name
Aye.
on the telly?
Aye, that was that one. And also last year we played Ferencvaros at 3 o'clock on a Thursday in the Europa League. So I went through to meet my cousin before the game, and then we both had the Friday off, so we went out after it, and I ended up buying the home top with Kyogo in the back as a 31-year-old male. I'm actually wearing it the now.
You got your training trackie on as well, like you're going to get started.
No, that's in the other room.
I've actually got my 08-09 black Chelsea top on now, Kyle. I'm doing some cosplay.
These adult men that cosplay as footballers. But we'll leave that debate for another time.
You're wearing a fucking YouTuber's hoodie, shut it.
Let's get started talking about movies. Nobody can see what I'm wearing just now
I
anyway.
didn't realise that was a Sidemen hoodie.
Listen, Sidemen forever.
Is that a Sidemen hoodie? That's the most embarrassing. Oh, Kyle.
He's actually slagging us for wearing a football top.
You can't put a man's name on your back. That man should be able to day hangs to you for that.
Well,
So
I
let's talk about movies. What I'll do is I'll play the music in here anyway, and this will just cut all that part out with users just slagging me off for my hoodie. I'll make sure to cut that.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun, you fucking moron.
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron? Huh?
You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron. Hey, moron.
But welcome in, morons. Nice to see you again. We are continuing this series of talking about movies beginning with the letter B. This week we are talking about Batman Begins. Who would like to take it away?
Oh, I've got a bit of a hot take on Batman Begins, so I'm going to wait a bit to come in. So I'd like to hear what Hunter's got to say, because I'd imagine he's a Nolan boy.
Yes, apart from, what was that one that you brought out like just before COVID?
Tenant.
Or whatever that was a mindfuck. I was a Nolan guy until then, and then I could not get my head around that one at all. But as for this whole Dark Knight trilogy, I am all in balls deep for my enjoyment of this. I think this is great. Obviously, it's introducing you to this new trilogy, a whole new universe for Batman to be in that we hadn't really seen before. Again, obviously, a lot of the towards the end of the Schumacher era, it was obviously a bit comedic by the time it came to an end, and I think it obviously kind of lost a bit of momentum as far as I'd seen it anyway. And then it was a good reboot, kind of gave a fresher, sort of more modern take. I mean, it was almost kind of like those borderline. Not quite the sexual innuendos used to get with the 1970s James Bond, but I did kind of felt like it'd gone stale in with that character like it had before. But I do enjoy this. I love the darkness, the grittiness. I do think that Cillian Murphy is a good foe. I mean, he's not in your face. He's not combative, but he's kind of methodic in his planning and his takedown, and he's very clever in this. Yes, Daniel, have you got a point, or you just want to go?
Keep that. No, that's a good character trait for you to have. So one of my points on this is we also watched, was it 28 Days Later with Cillian Murphy?
Yeah.
I think I hate him. Like he's shit in this as well. Like he doesn't do it for me at all. And I've not gone back and watched this for 10 years or something. And I don't think I realised at the time how much I hate him. There's something about him. I just think he's a shit actor. I think his character's shit in this. It's a bad villain. That's my moaning.
Have you ever seen the movie starring him called Red Eye?
Yeah, I've seen that on the plane.
Yeah, so in Red Eye, he's the creepiest, scariest bastard I've ever seen watching a film. I quite like him. I like that aspect of him because he is creepy. He is a bit weird, and I think that leans into like being a villain or being a bad guy essentially.
I think I just think he was a really weak bad guy. You didn't really know anything about his motivations. You didn't know anything about anything that got him to where he was.
You know, just sort of dropped in by Ra's al Ghul anyway. He's not like he's like the toy essentially that's in doing his legwork.
Yes,
that's what I thought in terms of I wasn't taking much of him because I thought it was just somebody that'd been planted there by the sort of main guy in charge. So he's going to not be someone that you're going to expect to be this really strong. I don't know what word I'm looking for in terms of like a villain who'd be that believable because he's kind of just one of his cronies instead of being the main guy to an extent. I thought it was okay, but I can see where Daniel's coming from at the same time though.
Correct. This leads me on to my second point. I also think Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul character is also a shit villain. I think this movie suffers from not having a good villain. Do you know what the best bit about this movie was for me? When the Joker's card got shown right at the end. And you were like, oh, I remember why I love this. That's what it sort of got to me at the end.
With Ra's al Ghul, I really like the TV series Arrow, and it goes a lot deeper into the Ra's al Ghul character and the like the Lazarus Pit and the whole league, etc. There's just a lot more to it than what gets shown in this. They spend most of their time trying to like curveball you that Liam Neeson's not actually Ra's al Ghul. So I think they could have spent a probably better background time on it. But I'm not too clued up on Bruce Wayne's involvement with the league when it comes to Ra's al Ghul. So I feel like this one had just multiple bad guys. Like you've got Scarecrow, you've got Ra's al Ghul, you've got Falcone as well, and it kind of teeters in and out of them throughout it, which was probably what affected the previous Batman movies, where they started having multiple bad guys with smaller parts of the storyline. And I think that's where the Dark Knight excels, because it's all about the Joker, and they spend the whole movie with the Joker. There isn't too many side quests in it.
Side quest. I definitely agree that I like the concept, right? But the motivation seemed really weird to me. It was all about him going through all these, like, it's almost like old style kung fu movies, the type of stuff he had to do, going through all these training, the big montage of becoming a member of the League of Shadows, right? And it's as if at right at the end is when he's only first learned anything about what the fuck he's been doing for the last however many months of his life. And suddenly, and his answer to not wanting to kill the bad guy was to kill a bad guy. And like, I think this is where I think Christopher Nolan he gets a lot of plaudits, but I think there's a lot of weakness in his actual narrative of his stories. It relies a lot on you not really paying attention and not thinking about it too much, and then it's quite good. But I found myself very disappointed going back to watch this, because there are lots of little things like that. Like the whole motivation for the whole film just fell off to me. And I think it was just bad script, but good acting in it. What do you think, Sean? Sean's on mute, that's funny. What's he doing?
He's fucked off to play Warzone.
I was coughing earlier on, I wasn't want to hang it. This is a film that, like, I've not seen that many times, but when I watch it, I feel like I've seen it like loads of times. It's really weird. But like, I agree with what you're saying about the villains. Like, I'm not a fan of like that Scarecrow character, but like, I thought Cillian Murphy was actually quite good in it. I just thought it was just dealt a shit hand. And like, I like him in other stuff. Just on your point about him, Daniel, I quite like him in other stuff. Like, he good in Peaky Blinders. He was good in that film that Kel just said. Was it Red? No, fuck's it called?
Red Eye.
Red Eye. Aye. But I just thought the villains were shit. I hate the, like, I classify Batman, Spider-Man, Superman as like your big three superheroes. Like that's your mainstream ones, and they've all got an origin story, and it all involves the death of a father figure. I mean, I'm just sick to the back teeth of seeing these origin stories. We all know the story. I just get bored there. Like, I was really kind of bored for like the first 45 minutes or so, until all of that stuff was out the way, and then like I fair enjoyed it. Like, I find any kind of Batman film like an easy watch. Apart from the older ones, like the kind of early mid-90 ones, like I loved them as a child, but I find them unwatchable now as an adult. So like watching the Nolan free ones, like it's always quite easy for me, because I just find them all quite enjoyable. I know that the first one, well, this one, and then the third one, I've got like quite a lot of people aren't really too keen on them, especially the third one, I think. But nah,
I'd fight that. I love the third one.
No, I like the third one as well. Like, this is my least favourite out of the three, but I still enjoyed it. I'm not that much of a thinker when I watch films, you probably already know. So I think it was Daniel that said that Christopher Nolan, like, he just wants you to just kind of not really pay attention. So I'm all about that. This suited me down to a T. But I definitely wasn't a fan of the villains. But overall, I thought it was pretty decent.
Better
than decent. I thought it was good.
for me, with just to go back to a point you made there, Sean, about the background of what happened. So Daniel knows a lot more about this than me, but over the last couple of years, I've really got to understand that the how many different variants of the background story of Bruce Wayne there is, and how, and depending on what element of what comic book that you read, it goes down a different story. So I do think it's quite important that they show us a little bit of it. I think the issue with this is the villains, like you said, aren't the best villains in it, and obviously they get better in the second one and the third one. But correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think movie-wise we'd seen anything of these types of villains in the previous ones at all.
I don't recall.
No.
Why not?
So I'm quite glad they went for something new and different. Like if we'd seen Mr. fucking Freeze again, I'd have been gutted. But if you go to the most recent Batman and they brought Penguin back into it and it was class. So maybe my argument's not that great there.
I was just going to back up what Sean was saying about the first 45 minutes, as you were saying about the background, that Kel is like, I don't know whether it's just me because I'm not a geek or a super fan like you are of these kind of films, but like if they were trying to make you understand it didn't work for me because I was just more confused by all the background stuff that they were giving me. Like I think after about half an hour, I had to actually go on and read what they were trying to tell you, that what the actual background was. I don't know if it's just I'm a bit thick or what, but
that's it.
No,
probably. And it was only when Batman actually gets back to Gotham that actually really enjoyed it, which is probably, I think is probably right, because I think I looked and it was about 45 minutes in, so I think maybe me and Sean are basically right stages. And then the other thing which I didn't think worked is that when they were doing like flashbacks, as I said before, that numerous times I enjoy flashbacks in films, but with this one I thought it just didn't work for me. I don't know why, it just didn't hit the spot for that point of view. But then once that part was over, then I thought it was really enjoyable. I was actually quite surprised how much I was sort of glued to it for the other 90 minutes of the film, but the first 45 definitely lets it down for me.
See, just on that point, Burnsy, right? I think it's quite telling that we've all got issues with the opening for different reasons, right? So I think it suffers from having not enough for somebody like you, Burnsy, that doesn't have a clue what's going on. So it's not enough to really explain everything, but it's also far too much for somebody who knows what's going on. Because we've all seen a million Batman movies. We all know, everybody who's going knows how Batman's parents died and all that sort of shit. We don't need it. So I think the whole 45 minutes is wasted on everybody because it doesn't help people who know nothing, and it's too much for people who know it all. A waste.
Right. It could have probably done with being shorter, but more to the point, instead of just assuming that you maybe know a lot of the stuff, but not just refreshing. It was probably refreshing your memory for some of you, but for me it was like, well, I've not got a clue what happened actually before, so you're not even refreshing my memory. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? To an extent. So that's why I had to actually read and obviously get an explanation, which helped with the rest of the film to actually enjoy it.
I think what would have been even maybe a better introduction to this movie would have been focusing more on the years. Obviously, when you see him first, he's in jail. Focus more on these sort of years that he sort of imploded.
Yes.
His mum, dad dying, to him becoming to that point there, to kind of see the self-destruction that he's went through at that point would have been, I think, a very good introduction, and probably would have made more sense in the Nolan way of storytelling. But obviously, he's just kind of wetting his bit in, and we just need to deal with it.
No, I think that's a good point. I agree. I think if you just saw him in the jail, I think we want to see him turning into Batman, like going out fighting low-level crime on his own, like fucking doing all this shit when he's traveling about. But you just got to see the end part of that, the boring bit. And then you got to see him walk up a mountain for ages and pick a flower. Fuck me, man. Another thing that really disappointed me in this was I forgot how anticlimactic it is as well. Climactic?
No, it's an anticlimax, I would have said. But I don't know if anticlimactic's a word, but you've made it up if it isn't it?
It's definitely a word.
Is it? Just didn't sound right.
A bunch of boys struggling to understand how to climax.
I've heard that you've got more trouble stopping yourself climaxing.
Listen, I'm usually first in.
Anyway, speaking of that, right? See, they spend a lot of the time, right? So there's a whole League of Shadows. Their weird plan is to make everyone in the city go mental through evaporating water with a nuclear evaporator thing. Like, so fucking convoluted. And then by the end, when they turn the fucking thing on, all you see is like a wee dotted screen, like the water mains, like a really shit 90s computer screen of the water mains changing colour as it's like evaporating. But nothing happens to anybody. For this to work, there should have been take away 20 minutes for the start and give us 20 minutes of everyone in Gotham going fucking mental with this stuff and like killing each other and like doing crazy shit. Because you spent the whole time waiting to try and avoid this thing happening, and then when it happened, it was fine. I didn't get it. On you go, Kyle.
It doesn't help when Katie Holmes is fucking awful in this movie and you've got no sympathy for her or no care for her whatsoever.
I'm definitely on the Maggie Gyllenhaal camp of better.
Yeah.
So she got recast for the second one.
Oh, I think she's grim watching this one.
We just also say that what you're talking about there, this one suffers the anticlimax, and obviously there's Katie Holmes being as within as fuck as well. But I think do you think this film suffers with how good the next two are? That pales so much in comparison to those two.
I would say it starts now looking back, because I forget this is obviously, we were about 17, 18 when this came out. It's older than I thought. Looking back, like, the starts low, goes very high, and then dips down to mediocre for me. That would be my, if we score all three of these at some point, that's the way my scores will go.
Just when you mentioned as well, Daniel, when you made the point about how there was an anticlimax, it's like when we went to watch the Batman at the cinema, is that did have the sort of crescendo at the end. I thought the ending was really good in that, and you did see everybody going mental. Whereas in this one, like you say, it's just like, oh, it looks as if we're going to have a big issue here, and then loads of people looking at computer screens, and then none happens. The other thing that I thought was a bit weird is like when Batman's like escaping with the police, Rachel, and then the actual scene itself I thought was pretty decent, but then at the end it's like, oh, we're lucky nobody died there. There's all these police cars flipping about the place as if like, there's no injuries, don't worry about it and whatever. There's nobody that's been hurt one bit. When the full thing's been all about this crashes and crashing into barriers, crashing into walls, that was just weird as well. It was like, I didn't understand even, I don't know why that one comment stuck with me, but it did for whatever reason. But I thought that actual scene was good.
That's the age-old Batman issue. That's like Batman's number one flaw, because he's the only thing that sets him apart is that he won't kill anybody. But if you watch these movies and nobody's died, it's a miracle. Plus, he definitely killed that guy at the start. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit wild because this is the comic book geek argument, right? Is Batman actually worse for Gotham City because all he does is catch them, put them into Arkham Asylum, then they escape and then they kill more people? So should he just kill the Joker and be done with it? Or is it his fault that the Joker goes on to kill hundreds of people because he won't take the ultimate action?
Has any of you watched the show on Netflix called Titans?
I watched the first two seasons.
So Titans has got a really interesting take on Batman because he's a bit older in this one. He's played by Ian Glenn as well, which is always weird when I see Ian Glenn as Batman. But he is essentially, Batman goes on like a murderous rate. What's the word I'm looking for there? Murderous rampage. Just kills loads of people, goes to Arkham and just slaughters the whole place. And it's about the impact of him. Like, he just let the darkness take over, which is always what they kind of hint at with Batman, is that he's just a angry, violent guy, like hiding behind this one moral that he's got that he won't kill anybody. But it's one of those scenarios where you're saying there about all those different people and these cars that are flipping and smashing and going on fire. But he's got that sole goal is that he's going to save Katie Holmes and nobody else around him. It's quite a weird one when he's the superhero there to protect the city. Like, he is a bigger problem for the city than he is good.
Well, see, you're talking about comic book characters and like different how he goes dark. I wonder because I now think Robert Pattinson's Batman sequels are going to surpass this trilogy because the first one of that is much better than this. That might be that might annoy some people, but I definitely think Pattinson's Batman's better than this one. And I think if they go down the right idea, they can introduce a lot better villains and make it a lot more interesting than they have done in these ones, I think. But for comic book geeks, and Kyle, you know about this one, there's a concept in the comic books that got really popular called the Batman Who Laughs. And it's basically Batman gets infected by a toxin that makes him go mental, just like the Joker. So it's Bruce Wayne, but basically with like the fucking crazy mind of the Joker. And he turns out like the most mega super villain ever. I'd love to see that in a film. But that's for mega geeks.
Who do we think will be the villains that come for the next? We know obviously that it's hinted as a Joker for the next Batman, but who else do we think is going to come in? This will probably be more into you, Daniel, for you'll maybe know.
Did I know read that is Colin Farrell's back again, eh? So the Penguin's back for the sequel.
Yeah. And the Joker, I'm assuming.
Uh-huh.
See, I think they should go down the route of the Court of Owls. That's never been in a film before, and it's the best story in the comic books. And I think Pattinson's Batman.
I've got a thing here that's got the predictions for the 10 most likely villains in the next Batman movie, and number 1 is the Joker, the Riddler's number 2, and the Court of Owls is number 3.
Oh, so that if it was up to me, that's the story I would be telling in the next Batman story.
Interesting. Well, just hopefully it's no Mr. Freeze. Yeah, let's hope it's not. In terms of, so someone mentioned earlier about ranking this one as the worst out of the 3 of this trilogy. Is everybody in the same camp for that, or would anyone say this is better than the other 2?
No, it's definitely that order. This is definitely 3, and then as Daniel, it goes like 3, 1, 2. I don't know, Kyle, you've kind of debated it. The 1 and 2 can maybe be switched with the Dark Knight Rises, but I think that obviously they've talked about even the villains. Obviously, kind of Bale grows into the role over the next 2. It's not as anticlimactic as well. I think this one does pale in comparison, but again, that's also credit to how well the story's told in the next 2 films as well.
See, with the next story, I do love the Dark Knight, and I do love the Dark Knight Rises, and I used to tell people for ages that the Batman Begins was my favourite out of the 3, and then after rewatching it, it's definitely not the case because I did not enjoy this as much as what I thought I did, and I think I just wanted to enjoy this movie more. I love the idea of the background story, the learning how to fight, the growing as a character, but like I said, I was touching earlier, we just got to see a little snippet of that, maybe a bit more in the background would have done it for me. The only issue I have with the Dark Knight, and I know we're not reviewing the Dark Knight specifically, but I just, as much as Heath Ledger's performance is amazing, it just, for me, it's so unfulfilling as the Joker, because it's got so many different iterations of the Joker rather than having one specific one, which I know, Daniel, we've debated this before, actually.
Well, they've finally answered the 3 Jokers thing in the comics now, so there is 3 different Jokers, or there was at one point. But the original Joker one's a Killing Joke, which has been made into an animated movie that we could watch. I wish I'd put that forward, actually. The Killing Joke animated movie would have been better than this.
Well, we'll just have to see what letter we get next, and you can add that in. I'm sure Sean will look forward to watching an animated movie.
On that, actually, the guy who is the voice of Batman for the last, 30 years in all the cartoons and the cartoon movies and all that died last week. I forgot your name, so it's not a very good wee tribute there, but whoever you are, sad you're dead.
Kevin Conroy.
That's it. That's his name.
There we go. Died at 66. Bless him. Cool. Hunter, you got any trivia on Batman Begins?
I do, yes, and I can't believe, I don't know, there was a bit of trivia, and something didn't pop up in my trivia, which is something that I noticed when I was watching the film, and I just realised, remember how much I hated that cunt in the first place, was to see the wee boy that he gave Fucking Joffrey for Game of Thrones.
Yes, I noticed that.
I
What
fucking hate
weak
that
base
bastard
he's got.
even more. Right, on to the trivia itself. Here we go. So, while shooting on the streets of Chicago, a person accidentally crashed into the Batmobile. The driver was apparently drunk and said that he hit the car in a state of panic, believing the Batmobile to be an invading alien spacecraft.
Excellent.
It's a good excuse if nothing else.
I think he may have been on more than alcohol in that state.
I'm surprised that's not the one that was filmed in Glasgow.
Oh no, you just imagine
It
that
just
some
got
young
stolen in
kid chasing that
Glasgow.
bike. So Christian Bale had an active dislike of the uncomfortable Batman outfit, which helped his performance as of that night, as he was apparently in a foul mood whilst wearing it.
Sorry, just before you move on,
Uh-huh.
did anyone notice the inconsistencies in his Batman voice?
Yes.
I meant to bring that up. Like, he kept completely changing his Batman voice up and down. By the time he gets the second one, he's got a definite Batman voice. But in this one, there's one where he's speaking to Rachel, and it's like his voice goes about 2 octaves higher.
It's kind of almost even goes like, he sounds more like his normal voice, because he said at a point she's on her face, she's like, that's him. That's right. She knows. Like, she must click on it's him straight away.
Aye, strange. Anyway, so up there. Carry on.
Only a few days before the Batman was cast, there were 8 actors that were up for audition for the part. They were obviously Christian Bale, Joshua Jackson, Ian Bailey, Hugh Dancy, Billy Crudup, Cillian Murphy, Henry Cavill, and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, Jake could have got his inner bat to play the Batman.
I look forward to that incest scene in The Dark Knight then, when his sister got cast to play Rachel.
The only one I knew that Cillian Murphy had gone for Batman, and he was close to being actually Batman, but then they gave him the Scarecrow instead.
I read somewhere on that trivia that apparently David Duchovny was up for it at some point today, because he was in consideration for the last Batman of the Schumacher era.
Oh no!
Before they gave it to George Clooney's stiff nips.
Remember the nipples? Oh man!
Remember the Batman credit card?
Aye. I was going to say, remember the nipples might be a podcast name.
I'll delete the morons and climax problems then.
So the title for this film had went through many changes. Firstly, the movie was planned to take place in the same universe as the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher films. It was originally known as Batman 5, and it also became Batman the Frightening for a while as well. With the Scarecrow, it was still going to be the main villain in this film. However, there was talk of reviving the original Joker from 1989 and the Penguin from Batman Returns as Fear Gas Illusions.
Oh.
At least made a little nod to it. Just jump in here in the middle of the Hunter. There's a bit in the goofs that it's got here about plot holes, and it says that microwaves cannot penetrate metal or even a metal mesh. This is why you don't place metal objects in a microwave oven, because of the metal mesh embedded. In the microwave oven, and why also they have a glass window. So the whole point of the vaporizing drug in the city, water lines is a non-starter, because it wouldn't penetrate any of the metal to actually get out there.
It was so convoluted. Like, why not just put it into the drinking water and make it that you drink it? So much, like, fuck all the rest of it. Do you mean? But they made this whole idea of no, if you drink it, it's safe, but only if it vaporizes. Fucking shite.
And the final bit I've got here is the Joker playing card presented to Batman at the end of the film is a replica of the Joker card from the 1989 graphic novel Arkham Asylum. It carries an evidence label, and this label reads that the officer who discovered it was a J. Kerr, and one of the Joker's aliases is Joe Kerr in the comic books.
You worked well on that one, eh? Just about space.
And E in a space. Good to go.
Before we go on to scoring it, Kyle, we got a question in about who we think's going to win the World Cup. So I thought we should all get our predictions down, recorded, so no one can go back in them, and we'll follow the progress as we go.
I think what would be more in. Well, I'll still give my winner, but I think it would be. I think we're all going to have similar winners. I think that a more interesting question would be, who do you think's going to fall at the group stages, like a big, supposedly like a big nation?
Oh, I mean, you have to look at the
I would
groups.
imagine that I think Argentina will win it, because I always watch the Argentina national team, so I know they're really good. You know what I mean? But I think that like France and England are at risk from having a fucking howler air tournament.
I would also the France implosion, because obviously Mbappe thinks he's king of France now. I think that might cause issues. Obviously, they've lost Nkunku as well to injury, and Kimpembe, so they're looking very frail. England, again, if they're gone with Slaphead at the back, they've just only one fit left back with 45 right backs in that squad. They're not going to go far in the tournament.
See, on the France thing, like, what's their midfield going to look like?
Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Rabiot. In fact, Rabiot's not even in. He's probably the best midfielder in it.
So obviously, like, they would like Pogba can't get out and all that. So you like Tchouaméni and Camavinga are obviously. Well, I think Camavinga's only what, 19 or something like that. Tchouaméni's 21. It's a lot to ask. Like,
they've got Guendouzi in their squad. He'll be the one starting. Rabiot's in the squad as well, Hunter.
Oh, is he?
Aye.
The Gwen dog, if we get the red card in the first game, probably.
And they've just had Nkunku's just been pulled out of the World Cup with injury, hasn't he?
Man landed on moon.
Is there an echo?
I literally just said that 2 seconds ago.
Sorry, guys. I'll just keep my mouth shut. I'll just. I think Spain are going to fall out of the groups, and Belgium are going to win it. There you go. Move on.
I would also maybe even say, if Portugal win, they're so stacked in other positions, would they implode with Ronnie the Rocket's fucking media spotlight this week?
He never trained today, did he?
He's got a sore tummy, apparently.
Is he? Right, so did you see the video with him with Bruno and then with João Cancelo as well?
Aye.
The Bruno thing was all the nonsense anyway.
How?
Bruno just didn't know he was behind them, and they've made like a big story about it.
Aye, that João Mario came out and basically said he'd made a joke because Bruno was apparently the last one to turn up at the camp, and apparently Ronnie said to him, he didn't hear it in the video as, "Oh, did you come by boat?" And apparently just Bruno says they find the joke funny, and they just went shook at the folks' hands.
Nate winner. What a melter.
I know.
Who's our dark horses then? Who's going to surprise people and do something? Because there's always a team that goes far. They're not going to win it, but they're going to go far.
Well, it'll not be France anyway, because you know that Nkunku's out.
I think Holland will do the best at the European teams. I think they could go far in this.
I think Denmark, but I don't know if that's a surprise or not, considering they've won about 20 games in the spin. But just that nobody seems to think they'll do that more than I think.
I think Uruguay have got a chance of doing things here. I think the South American teams, I don't know why, we just assume they're going to do better with the climate. And I also think if Mane can get fit, Senegal could cause some.
He's missing the first couple of games, you know.
Aye, that's the thing. So he needs to get fit. If they can get out of the group without him, a wee chance of causing some upsets, I think. Say it again?
Is the climate going to make that much of a difference? Are the stadiums not air conditioned?
Aye.
For what I can see, there's barely concrete on the walk up to the stadiums. There's like holes in the ground and all that.
I've seen that.
With no faith in climate control inside this stadium working. Like everything looks fucked.
Have you seen the little rooms that people are staying in, like the little fan zones?
Aye.
Oh.
Aye.
Have you seen the fake fans?
Aye.
Fuck me, man. Did you see that the England fans singing "Coming Home"?
Aye.
They were just going "Coming Home, Coming Home." That like fucking nothing like the actual song.
Have you seen the t-shirts they're all wearing? It's like uniform. Like I've seen the inside go get the Brazil squad, and all the locals are there like Brazil fan Qatar on the back of the t-shirt.
Aye.
So bad.
Is it just the same group every time, you think? They just get them to change all their stuff?
Probably.
I seen a video the day and they had like German fans standing in a square, England fans next to them, Argentinian fans, and I was like, you know for a fact there's no real football fans because the England fans aren't trying to fucking start a fight with the German fans or that. Like, there's all these like different fans just congregating in the one area, and England's bang in the middle of it. So apparently it's like people from Pakistan that they've paid to. It's like they've paid their accommodation, they've paid for their food, and they've given them like it's a really low amount. I read it's like the equivalent to like $10 or something like that to actually just act as these fans for the duration of the tournament.
Wow.
It's fucking mental.
Probably bribing all the migrant workers saying that here's a couple of free tickets and a couple of free t-shirts if you keep quiet about all the human rights violations you've endured the last 8 years.
Did you see the
uncle fucking died building the stadium?
I know.
Did you see the Danish news crew?
Aye.
Did you see that video?
Yes.
So they're just fucking. So they're basically just filming like outside, and then this wee golf cart rocks up with 4 boys in it, and they just basically try and grab the camera off him, and like saying you can't film here, and they were going, "I'm going to smash your camera," and he's going. So like the Danish boys going, this is all like recording live, and the Danish boys going, "You invited us to this country, we can record in public," and they're basically just not having it at all. But they just rolled up my golf cart. It was the weirdest thing in the world.
Oh,
I don't know if that's
a couple
the
of weeks to
local
try
policy
and pretend to the outside world that they're civilized.
I know. We just look like Russia managed to pull the wool over everyone's eyes for a couple of years, then just started bombing Ukraine 3 years later.
They got the Olympics and the fucking World Cup, and then they went until.
No, they let the day into any of them.
Well, we're predicting who's going to win it, and obviously it's already been decided that Qatar's winning it anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I don't even think we actually predicted who was going to win it.
Well, see what I saw is like, when they were saying it, when you said about Qatar there, it was like people they're obviously involved in the World Cup, and every single one of them said that Qatar would finish second in the group, then beat England in the last 16 because that's whose group that's who England would get in the last 16 if Qatar finished second and England finished first in our group. As if obviously that's what they actually thought themselves. It's not because they're getting paid obviously fortunes to be part of the committee, whatever kind.
Of course. And so is that's Senegal's group, is it not?
Aye.
England, Senegal is likely, and that'd be good. Senegal will put England out in the last 16. That's my prediction. And I think I've got a feeling about Argentina as well, because Argentina have never won a World Cup in my life, and I just feel like this is the time. Messi's last chance and all that.
Although I did read on the manager has said that they've got a couple of boys with illness, so they wait until the last possible minute to declare the squad. So announce Garnacho when you win the World Cup. That's all I'm saying.
Is it no?
Well, they didn't stuff like no.
I seen an announced squad of Argentina. Is it no Scaloni that's their manager?
Aye.
They're on like some mad fucking run. Like I don't know how many wins. I think them and the Netherlands are the two informed nations going into this. I think the Netherlands have won like the last. Don't quote me on this, like 17, 18, 19 or something like that.
The thing is, these qualifying stats always mean absolutely fuck all when you get to the tournament.
England are the case of point for that.
Yes.
Well, Hunter, you can go do your research later on, because they announced the team for Argentina 2 days ago.
Aye, no, but as the guys who came out today, they've got till Sunday to get the final submission in.
Or can you maybe still change it if there's injuries?
Aye, that's what France have called up somebody to replace that guy that got injured.
Who got injured?
boy for Leipzig.
I don't know who he is, but I'll have to research it later.
Schlobberschlei.
Right, well, we've had a disaster there trying to pick our winners and our surprises for the World Cup. So let's give some scores to Batman Begins instead, and we'll get moving on. Daniel, let's come to you first.
When we see what have been scored in the category of B, people are going to start getting annoyed at me for this, but I'm giving this a 2.
A 2. The comic book fans are out to get you. Burnsy?
2.5.
2.5. Sean?
3.5.
3.5. Hunter?
3.75 for me. I know there's good to come, so I think that's what boosts it for me.
Oh, there we go. Well, I'm going to go right in the middle of you all and just go a 3. Even more complicated for Burnsy trying to work out in his wee calculator.
That's 2.95.
2.95. Awesome. And I can't remember the scores that we've given the movies that we've done already, so you'll have to go onto our Instagram account, which is at Morons Reviewing Movies, if you want to see what's been scored already. We will have the scores for The Business, which we did last week, up very, very shortly. So please go on and give us your thoughts on that. But that brings us to the end of Batman Begins, guys. I would look forward to seeing The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. I suppose if we get the letter D coming up soon, we can put both of them in for that series and watch them in the same week, maybe.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Get all superheroed out. But that does bring us to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for listening to us ranting for ages about football, actually. A lot more football this week than we did actually talk about movies. And if you've not heard already, there's a player for France called Nkunku who's got an injury. And he's not going to make the World Cup.
So if you've got me in the fantasy team, I advise you swap him out.
You might have heard already. Someone might have told you before, but it's very unlikely. But that is it for us guys tonight. Thank you very much. And as Morons bid you farewell.
Au revoir.
Should we do a Morons fantasy football for the World Cup?
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun, you fucking moron.
Dressed up like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron. Hey, moron.
Bid you farewell and good luck, morons. Bye.